What's up, everyone? The Castle here, about to explain some stuff. So, alright. Now, uh, there's gonna just be a lot of artwork. I'm gonna be just working on a lot of art. As you could probably see right here, I've made a little bit of progress on some stuff that I've been, like, procrastinating on for a while now. And that was getting, like, a decent slime texture. You get some slime, and then, slime, and then water. That's more slime. And then the water texture is up here, so you can actually kind of see like how the water is going to look and everything like that. Now, the neat thing about this is that uh, you have to place this mesh, these water objects, above what would be a volume. So if I go into volumes, you'll notice that I have the whole thing selected. There's a volume in there that, and this volume has the post processing and the splash effects and everything like that. So like anytime something enters the volume, depending on what it is, it splashes, causes ripple effects, or the usual kind of stuff like that, right? But over top of the object, you have to decide. You have to like actually place the uh, the actual water material. See? So it kind of just works that way. Now there's lava over here as well. And I'm probably gonna tweak the lava a little bit tonight. So something I'm gonna do that's gonna be just a little bit different is I'm going to focus on getting a lot of normal maps working right away. So I'm gonna try and get like a bunch of different variations of different types of normal map materials in place, and then I'll worry about the color maps later. That's actually kind of a technique to just sort of block things in and get a bunch of textures. That way, I can just sort of focus on the textures, the color maps later on. So that means that there's going to be a slew of new textures coming in. I need to get some tall textures that actually kind of look like they would fit on something like this. You know what I mean? And I also need to have some wall variations where there's like brick and metal together. Um, I'm not terribly unhappy with the brick, but I feel like there's gonna need to be a few more variations of things and everything like that. Um, that's that. I might also experiment with creating more outdoors meshes that allow me to build larger open spaces rather than using the brownies, the big ass I was calling them brownies, like these big meshes like this, but actually focus more on um, making stuff that allows me to do like sort of canyons and stuff like that. And I need to experiment a little bit with how big of an open space I can actually create, which is gonna mean that these new levels, this Death Spiral is gonna have some fairly large open spaces, and there might not even be a lot of combat in a lot of them. They'll just be sort of like exploration and stuff like that. I would normally do this, except I need to experiment a bit with pushing things a bit so that I can see what it's going to be like to do this kind of stuff with um, with the next game, right? Because this is the environment that the next game is going to be built in. In fact, this is the environment that the next game. This is the next game that can build maps for the previous game. Now, there's a small chance I might actually just integrate the editor at a certain point, where when I know that the editor is functioning pretty much as good as it's going to get, and I have enough materials and everything like that, I may actually just roll it right into Revulsion, which will be interesting because Revulsion being a single player game will actually have a multiplayer level editor inside of it. But you know what? That'll make it a lot easier as far as like the Steam Workshop and stuff like that. It'll kind of also make Revulsion 1 a little bit more of an enticing buy because I think a lot of people right now they don't even know that the level editor exists. They don't even know how to access it. They don't, you know what I mean? Once this bad boy is like ready to go, like You can actually build everything, including the auto maps, and you get everything in place. The sounds of fucking ambient sounds and shit. And at that point, it's kind of like a no-brainer. I should probably just be rolling the level editor into the actual game, in spite of the weird oddity of the fact that the level editor is multiplayer, but the game itself isn't. I'll try to be very clear um, when I talk about the multiplayer aspect of the level editor, um, and make sure that people understand that the game isn't multiplayer, because that's going to confuse people, and that worries me because I don't want people to think I'm lying to them. I don't want people to think that I'm messing this up, like, or I'm false advertising. The game is single player. The game is single player. All right? You can only play the game alone. The level editor is multiplayer. You can get like a bunch of your friends and build maps together. Um yeah. I mean, I could go ahead and, like, maybe just like hack the editor so that it doesn't allow you to build, have people join or something like that. But I don't see a point in that. It takes more effort. Well, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's really strange. But you know what? I guess it would be a sort of immersive. It would be like an immersive design decision, if that makes any sense. Sort of, I guess that's what you would call it, though. Is like, it was something that came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't plan ahead that that's how things would actually happen. But but it ended up happening that way anyway. And the reason isn't because I was making decisions to do that kind of stuff right from the get-go. It was because I merely kept improving, and I outgrew the old framework that I was developing in before. So now I'm, now what you're seeing right now is I leveled up basically as a developer, and Revulsion 1 represents like my level 1, you know, level 1 through 10 experience. Now I'm already like almost level 20 or something like that. So yeah, all right, that's kind of a weird analogy, but it works. Um, so yeah, I don't know how to explain it any other way than other than that. With that said, though, yeah, I mean, and there's really not much else to say. Now I know that I've been releasing other videos and stuff like that because I've been probably a healthy thing, honestly, because working too much is not a good idea. Like, I don't want to burn out. But I'm playing Borderlands 3, and I even released a couple of videos of just hanging out in like VR chat and stuff like that. And the Doom shareware episode, I thought it was the entire episode, but it's just a shareware episode of Doom 1 in VR chat, which is absolutely hilarious. And I have a couple more of those videos that I have them scheduled to release at the usual times for the rest of the week. And I'll probably continue to kind of like trickle out like detailed, information like that and stuff like that. Um, but one thing that's getting on my nerves about right now is that I'm not really showing anything new other than some like new materials in this project. I need to start getting back to really pushing things hard and getting things to move forward, because I do want to have a playable version of this map built in the level editor and everything like that, and ready to go and released with Revulsion 1, so that you can actually play a new map, a new mission, right? And it'll include like a lot more interesting stuff. Like the slime actually hurts you when you jump in it, stuff like that, right? So I got a lot of texture work stuff that I need to be doing in here as well. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm just gonna make a bunch of normal map textures and focus just on like making the surfaces interesting, which means that I'm basically blocking out the textures, which is kind of interesting because it's if you're focused on the normal maps, you're just making the geometry, right? And then I can use that as a way to kind of make like interesting geometry and stuff like that. And I have a feeling that I actually have a better, or at least a semi more interesting way to develop the normal maps so that you can um, I can make more interesting details on them and stuff like that, so that there's like cracks and details that are necessary to really kind of get away from this like almost Windows wallpaper as kind of brick, which is okay in in limited amounts, but you really need to have textures that pop, that don't have this sort of look to them where it's kind of amateurish. It needs to look a little bit better than this. There needs to be some indication that that this is actually like real stuff. Like I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna be just trying to improve and further advance everything like that. Um, but yeah, like I mean, a lot of this stuff already is functional enough right now. I know that if I do have much larger open world type stuff going on, I need to uh, I need to limit. I need to like use like the spawners and stuff. So like as you're actually traveling through these larger outdoor environments, um, you actually spawn the monsters, and it causes like little mini ambushes every once in a while. And one of the things that'll be really cool about doing the larger open environment is that I I'll be able to get a bunch of people in and have them like help me out with the level design. So I basically have like friends that'll just jump in and develop with me. So I'm gonna try and push this to more than like double its current size, and then have a bunch of separate buildings, and try and get the gothic look. So you have the base, and then you have the gothic castle like brick and everything like that over here as well. So um, and then from there, I'm actually going to be kind of starting to get ready to start thinking about the next game and focusing entirely on that. Like once I know that the level editor is working, and once I know that the level editor is rolled into the original game and everything is functional enough where you can just literally build the maps in Revulsion, at that point I'm going to start focusing on the new game. And the new game is going to be very dependent on having larger open spaces, much bigger than this. And I'm gonna try and I'm definitely leaning in the open world sort of survival type stuff, and then having it sort of flow a little bit like Zelda, where you have you have these structures, but like you won't be able to enter them because there's like a symbol, right? And then a symbol and then like a number for what that symbol is, and you have to have your symbol leveled up to that number. So like a level 5 fire dungeon, or a level 5, you know what I mean? Like not fire, but like different elements, or some kind of interesting like aspect like that, and then you use those to enter these places, and then these places give you the ways to going all the way to the ends of them, give you a way to level up your symbol so that you can enter one of the other buildings. And then you have the sort of the need to like farm materials and craft stuff and build your base. Um, and then there could be a lot of different places in which you can build your base and stuff like that as well. And I don't know. I think it can work actually. It takes the whole Borderlands thing and makes it a little bit more RPG-ish, and so you can actually have like people who specialize as being healers or something like that. It actually kind of makes it feel a little bit more like I don't know. It would end up being a pretty different experience. It's a lot more. It's a lot more RPG-ish, and there's a lot more intricacy as far as like the complexity of like the choices that you can make. You can actually choose to be someone who can't deal as much damage, but is capable of like buffing everybody else so that they can deal more damage, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. I like the idea. That's the idea is sticking. It's actually sticking. I think I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the concept. But yeah, I'm getting tired of flying around in the same area and during my speeches. So yeah, I'm thinking that I'm going to be focused. I'm not going to play any Borderlands tonight as much as I want to. I'm going to actually get a bunch of new normal map stuff in place, and I'm going to get some experimental like larger open area meshes in place and stuff like that, and see how it goes. Like, it's gonna make this shit happen. So with that said, that's about all actually. Take it easy, and yeah, this week's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be some really nice progress. I want progress. I want to be flying around in a new area that's gonna take up like a big chunk of all of this, like all the way out here. I want to see what this shit can handle. Oh, did I actually leave the world extent? No, I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. Guess what? I'm gonna have to increase the size of the world extent. Isn't that cool? I like it. So, yeah. And then from there, I'll have enough to slap an exit on the end of the final part, and we'll actually be able to see what this can look like with an actual, like, a fairly decent sized open area. I wonder how it's gonna feel. I'm a big fan of like Fallout 3 and stuff like that, so I think that it'll be good. So anyway, with that said, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end this video now. Yeah. Let's see what happens this week.